So Apple does a lot with its new iPhones every year. People get excited, people are gonna buy them. They almost always sell, people are always happy, except I have been very angry at certain things that Apple has done. I've been annoyed, angry, disappointed. And in this video, I'm going to tell you just a few of those things. These are 5 evil things Apple has done with the iPhone 15 lineup. So first, let's start off with one thing that just really inconveniences people switching phones and cell phone service, and that's going eSIM only. Now, this started with the iPhone 14 and it continued into the iPhone 15 lineup. Both the regular and the Pro phones are eSIM only. And that's a big disappointment. Now people cannot pop out the SIM card and swap phones easily. Now you have to actually either call or go online or go through the app or go in settings to swap out phones or swap out SIM cards. That is gonna basically make it so much harder if you have multiple devices. Now, this is even more terrible. Let's say if you have an Android phone, Apple is really locking you down because there's no easy way to switch SIM cards between phones, iPhones. Not every carrier carries an eSIM option, and if they do, it's kind of hard. Sometimes you could do it once, and then if you want to switch again, they might make it harder. And this is impossible with Android phones. You can't do it on the fly anymore. When we had a physical SIM card slot, you could easily pop it out, put it in the other phone, and not call anybody, not look up anything, not go online. It just works, and it happens in seconds. It was a very small port, but Apple decided to just shut it all down, because before you could have the physical nano SIM card and also have an eSIM. So now they just completely did away with that. One of the things I think Apple did, the reason why they did this is because of the phone carriers, your big 3. You got Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. Now this works in their favor to have just eSIM now, because once you have eSIM, you can't easily just swap out the SIM, take it out, and put in another service provider SIM, and then boom, it's very easy to switch companies. Carriers don't want you to do that, and carriers have a big influence on Apple, so it makes it a very big inconvenience. If you travel outside the United States, you can't just simply take out the SIM and put in a local SIM. You have to actually look up eSIM providers, and it's just a very big downgrade for customers and for Apple users, but Apple's doing this for the carriers. Next evil thing that Apple did in the iPhone 15 lineup is going to be that $30 upcharge. Now, they've been doing this for a while. I believe they started with the iPhone 12 lineup, and basically if you want to buy a new iPhone unlocked, meaning you don't have to sign up with the carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. If you want to have it unlocked, you're going to have to pay a premium on the iPhone 15 of $29 or $30. That's basically an activation fee. And again, I think it's because of the big influence carriers have on Apple. Now, they make a lot of money by having these activation fees. They activate millions and millions of phones every single year. And Apple is just appeasing the wireless carriers. Before you could, if you want to go prepaid, or if you want to activate the phone later, or if you just want to have the phone and not deal with anything extra with the carriers, you could just buy the phone and that's it. If you want to buy the iPhone 15 unlocked, you have to pay an extra $30 compared to the carriers. Now, this doesn't apply to the iPhone Pros, but it's just basically people have to make a choice. Do you want to overpay and get a penalty for buying the regular iPhone, or do you want to go and spend more money just to get that unlocked privileges? Because they don't charge that $30 upsell fee on the iPhone Pro. So this is basically making the iPhone just more expensive for a lot of people. Next evil thing that Apple did is that they got rid of the Apple Card 24-month financing for iPhones. Now, that was a big reason why I got the Apple Card and why I think it was a big benefit to people, because it gave people the chance to finance a phone for 24 months on a credit card every single year, or anytime they want to buy an Apple iPhone. They don't have to do another credit check, or they could just pay it off as they go. And you had that 3% discount, which still applies now, but it was a great way to buy an iPhone straight up. You didn't have to go through carriers. You could just buy it unlocked and pay it in 24 months. Now they completely got rid of it. So if you want any type of financing for your iPhone, you're gonna have to go through the carriers. You're gonna have to pick T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon. So this is really put a hurt on people if they just want to buy the iPhone themselves and pay it off in payments, and then they could choose their own carriers. Like me, I like going prepaid. There's like over 70 million prepaid users in the US, and now if they have Apple cards, they cannot do that anymore. So that's another reason that Apple is evil. Goes back to the carriers having a lot of influence on Apple. This also maybe has to do with Goldman Sachs and the Apple Card, and people may be defaulting, but it was probably the best benefit of having an Apple Card is having the 24-month financing, which Apple just totally just took it out. And it was the only product that they took out. Other products still have financing at 0%, but they even did with the Apple Watch. They went from 24 to 12 months. So Apple is basically just taking away a big benefit that Apple Card users had. Then the last evil thing that I'm gonna say that Apple did with the iPhone 15 lineup is switching over to USB Type-C. Now, a lot of people are excited about this new change. Now we finally have one port on iPhones, one port on Android that is the same. It goes also for your MacBook, tablets, Nintendo Switches, USB Type-C, Bluetooth headphones. Pretty much every accessory now, every device is rocking a USB Type-C port. Now that sounds pretty good, but right now, currently, it's a nightmare. Let's say you have a spouse, a partner, or just other devices, older devices with Lightning port. You have to upgrade those. Now you have to still walk around with two cables. And right now it's gonna be a headache. Now, eventually it'll get better, but this is probably going to be the thing that makes people upgrade, without really wanting to. There's not a lot of benefits to switching over to USB Type-C. I think most people just charge their devices, and it does bring certain new things that they couldn't do before, but it's really this is just turning into an Android phone. They're introducing a new thing that's, a buildup of 10 years, and they eventually had to do it, but now people are gonna have to start slowly, changing accessories, changing devices, in order to just make everything use USB Type-C. It's not 100% shady, but it is gonna make it harder for people. So those were my 5 evil things that Apple did to the iPhone 15 lineup.